Welcome back to the Owl House podcast. I'm Cryptid. I make YouTube videos about cartoons. Me and my friends are here to sit back and talk about every episode of this upcoming season right after watching it, which means that we'll be very, very confused and unprofessional because we literally watched it like 4 minutes ago. But I will allow everybody else to introduce themselves. Last time for season 1, we did have 2 other buddies with us, but mainly really because this season came out of nowhere all of a sudden. Like, we were not really prepared to do this. So as of now, it's just going to be the 3 of us, probably for the rest of this month.
So I'm Tipsy. You've seen me in a bunch of other videos, so go and watch those if you haven't already, or go away. And
Rude.
And I have a blog where I draw comics, and a Twitter as well.
Hi, I'm Tulip.
Tulip?
Okay, yeah. Hi, I'm Tulip, she, her pronouns. You could also call me Edith or Dawn if you'd like. I have a YouTube channel where mostly what I do is make Let's Play videos on Tulip Garden Gaming, and I also do other stuff, but you could find all the links to that from that YouTube channel if you just go there and look in the descriptions or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And you watch cartoons a lot. We all collectively watch cartoons a lot. We are predominantly Adventure Time fans. That's how we met. I don't know if we ever really explicitly addressed that, but like we talked about Adventure Time all the time in the other.
I think that's pretty obvious.
I guess we just assumed it was understood because the first review podcast we did was BMO.
Yeah, but then I looked the other day. We apparently have 4,000 people who listen to the audio version. So I am assuming they have zero context about who we are. So
yeah, that's fair.
Doesn't matter. We're just here to review cartoons, and you can take us or leave us. But yeah, talking.
Whatever.
And chew bubblegum. But for context, yeah. So it's been 9 months since we last recorded an Owl House related video, and a heck of a lot has happened since then. We've had, I believe, 2 seasons of Infinity Train have come out, as have 2 episodes of Distant Lands, and those episodes were really good, and I've rewatched the entirety of Adventure Time. I'm coming back into Owl House after watching all of that, and let's just say my standards have shifted a little bit since I watched season 1. So I'm interested in seeing how I respond to season 2.
Well, she's trying to say that she hates the show now. She's going to give every episode a 3 or less. Although I was looking at...
I was already doing that, so...
No, but I was looking at our review scores from last season. There was that one episode that we all didn't like except for you, and you gave it an 8. And then I wrote, I wrote bruh on the sheet.
Was that the body?
I think it was the
body.
I think it was the body swap one, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Okay, so we've just seen the first episode of season 2, and it was...
Episode 1, Separate Ties. Episode 1, Separate Ties.
Separate Ties. Yeah,
tides.
I'm just...
Tides, like the ocean.
Tides? Separate
It's a pun
tides.
because there's the ocean in that
yes,
episode.
Yes,
Did you watch the episode?
I don't know. I'm not confident about rating this episode. It's been so long since we've done that. I feel like, by the end of the first season of our podcasts of Owl House, I'd sort of built up.
Yeah, we changed our scores all the time, too, so.
Yeah, we did, but, when we had just seen the episodes, I feel like it would have been easier to compare it to the other ones. But before the other day, I did go back and listen to all our old podcast episodes, so I guess I have that in my memory bank.
If you remember, because this is coming back to me now, when we first saw episode 1 of season 1, everybody gave episode 1 a pretty high score. But then, when we saw the next episode, we lowered our score for episode 1 because episode 2 was better, and we realised that we were kind of giving episode 1 a bit too much credit.
Yeah,
so,
no. I didn't like either of the first 2 episodes.
I still like episode 1. grumble, grumble.
Honestly, I don't like either of them much in hindsight now, like, honestly. But yeah, that's the sort of comparisons we were doing.
I definitely think this is better than the first episode of the first season.
So yeah, this episode, I wouldn't say so much that it focuses on the fallout of the previous episode, because considering the dramatic events of the season 1 finale, this episode was it took place 2 weeks later, right? Rather than focusing on the immediate fallout of the previous season finale and continuing the dramatic tension from there, they decided to have a look at how the relationships of the characters are gradually changing and how they're maturing as people, considering their new circumstances. And I thought this was quite interesting. In particular, I liked the under-the-surface conflicts the characters were doing. I know the episode kind of pointed them all out by the end of the day, but even if it did that, it's still kind of interesting. Lilith trying to do everything by herself, for example, because she's always done everything by herself. She's never asked for help, and she feels like she has something to prove all the time. So Lilith is now in a situation where she is no longer the best witch in the Boiling Isles next to her sister. She's now effectively nothing, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. But then you have Hootie, the absolute legend, who won't leave her
Absolute
alone.
legend.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows. He can sense that she needs support. He's really annoying, but he's not that annoying in this episode. Like, he was really funny for the whole thing. I can't remember any of the jokes, but I did find them funny. And that seems to be the case with all the Owl House jokes. I can never remember what they are, but I always find them funny. Do you remember any of the jokes about Hootie?
From this episode,
Yeah. It's so hard because it's like every other line of this show is a joke, basically. So it's like you can never remember one unless it's like hysterical.
But there are those, and like it's good.
Yeah.
When they show up.
One of the ones I do remember is the Golden Guard lifting the towel on the basket and King turning around and going back to sleep and doing that like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, like a parakeet.
But yeah, in this episode, King was baby boy again. And he's probably going to act like a teenager again in 3 or 4 episodes. And we'll go, oh God, no. Why is King acting so out of character and unlikable?
Speaking of that Golden Guard, apparently he's like a teen prodigy. Like, I'm going to say what I think we were all thinking, right? His voice sounds like Edric's voice. Which we only know, right? Because you had that cameo from his voice actor at the very beginning of the awards video, which just was released as we're recording this.
Because I've listened to because I did an animation for it, I've listened to that voice like probably 100 times now on that one cameo, and it really does sound just like him. So I will be the voice detector. What is that music?
That's the episode. Sorry, I'm going to look at the credits because I swear he showed up in the credits, but it wasn't his name. Which,
he sounds just.
Well,
like
here's
him.
the thing: is that they've like teased that character already before the season has come out. They've like posted like concept art of that character's face. So like, I don't think it would be Edric, because why would they show it? But it's
obviously not.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's weird that they sound similar. But I don't think that that's. The TV version of this episode didn't have the credit sequence. It's just playing the credits over the ending of the episode.
Well, that's sad, because the credits were cool. Cool new, like, sequence of, like, stained glass sort of style images.
Yeah, it's really cool. And also, I've been playing a lot, and I mean, like, 300 hours of Monster Hunter in the past month. So, when Luz picked up a poster and it looked exactly in the art style of Monster Hunter, I was like, yes! They play this game, probably.
Zeno Robinson is the voice of the Golden Guard.
Ah, so it's not him. He sounds so much like him.
I don't know. Maybe they like that kind of voice for some reason.
So, what were your thoughts, Tulip?
Yeah, so I thought it was weird that they were still trying to use magic the old way, and apparently they still can, like, a little bit, but it's extremely weak to how it used to be. I was surprised that was happening at all. I thought they would dive straight into Ida and Lilith, like, learning glyphs, but that did happen, partway through the episode. I guess they had to make it a plot point, and that was good.
I didn't think it was weird that they were still trying their old magic, but I did think it was weird that, like, half the episode we see Luz doing all this amazing stuff, and then it's like, how come Ida and Lilith weren't just also doing that the whole time? But then they start at the end.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the Owl House universe. The question is, why isn't everyone, and I mean everyone, doing magic that way? Why are there even segregated witch classes? There's a lot that doesn't make sense in the Owl House universe, and a lot of it is just because this is how things are.
The covens are exclusive because that's what the Emperor says, and if you don't do it, then you're a criminal. And not everyone's as strong as Ida, so they'd be like put in jail or whatever. The reason not everyone uses the glyphs is because like no one knows about it, I think, because there was Luz just had to like discover it on her own.
Yeah, I feel that same way too. I think like Luz did it like by accident, and like nobody else really realizes that can be done because they're all taught by the Emperor in the school and all that.
But yeah, you made a good point. Why are they watching Luz work for money and just doing nothing other than trying to kill King, when they could be asking her to teach them her magic so that they can at least do what Luz does?
Yeah, that was weird. What investment did the Golden Knight guy have in that monster being killed? I didn't understand that.
Maybe it was attacking ships or something? At the end of the day, he's still the Emperor, and that was the Emperor's ship, so maybe it blocks a trade. Good point though, because one of my criticisms of season 1 is that we still don't know why the Emperor has society. I mean, this was like my criticism of Steven Universe. There is absolutely no reason for the Gem Society to be the way it is, so I really want to know why the Emperor wants society to be the way it is and what purpose it serves, especially after the whole school multi-track incident and stuff like that. I think that the entire thesis of the show hinges on the Emperor having an interesting reason to be doing what he does.
Very short tangent I'm going to say about Steven Universe. I think the problem you're having is that they didn't go into the Gem's backstory at all, which is, I think the reason you can assume that society is like that is because all the gems just pop out of the ground knowing exactly what they should be doing. And presumably that happened to the diamonds as well, and that's why we're like, we should rule everything and everyone. And so they started doing that, but they never went into like how gems were created in the first place, because the answer is obviously snake people, and they weren't going to make an episode about that. But anyway, when the Emperor was spying on them, I thought he was going to like capture Luz maybe, but then he was just like, no, do the same job you're already going to do, and it was confusing to me.
I didn't even realize that until you guys were bringing it up. He did have like no other goal really. Like that is odd. I was expecting the episode to end with him like going to see the Emperor and like saying something about them, like he found them or something ominous, but he just kind of goes away.
Seeing the Golden Mask guy was awfully nostalgic for me, because he immediately reminded me of all of those millions of anti-hero characters. Red X, for example, was the one who popped to mind. So I wonder what drove Dana Terrace to include a fan-bait character like him in the show.
True.
But what did you really enjoy about the episode?
I liked the designs a lot. I think the designs of everything was really cool. Even just like fire bees, like that was cool, the way they all swarmed over the tree and stuff.
I liked seeing Ida and Lilith interact. That's good. That's always good. And like, the way that Luz opened the episode with her monologue, like, she said, maybe we can one day be friends. Like, it sort of seems like there's going to be more tension than there ends up being. Like, really, Ida is just teasing Lilith, and Lilith is okay with it because she does deserve it, I guess. It's
God,
fun.
I hope there's not more tension. I mean, I think at this point we're beyond that right now. So if there is tension, it can potentially feel quite contrived.
The pirates were cool. I thought maybe they were going to be traitors because they were going to betray Luz because they were on the Emperor's boat, but then
But
not
then
really.
they just disappeared from the episode.
Yeah.
But they were cool. They had cool designs too.
Yeah, Luz earned their respect. Luz has got to be really strong now. She's just been fighting monsters for a while.
No, they made that whole fake monster out of plants. Like, the heck? My main thought on this really is I don't know what I was expecting from the season to start, but I am kind of just like a little jarred by the fact that like they didn't start with really, really strong like bait, you know, like the end sort of. It's just like we see the Emperor by the door again, but like that's not really something big. Like I thought they'd want to start the season off with like something with more lore going on, but I mean, Tipsy, the way you described it is definitely better than like, that makes it feel better to me. But for a season premiere, I would have expected like a more actiony sort of episode, like
You're right.
working off of more consequences or something. But everything's just kind of mentioned in passing, and then it's like a normal day.
Yeah, it was like a normal sort of episode. Like, you know, most of what happened in this episode, I could have seen it being anywhere in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
I guess, but I don't mind that. Normal episodes are good.
It was definitely good. It was very fun. I just feel like for the start of a season, there should have been a bit more of a hook somewhere, because we didn't really like. We have the guard character, and then like that's it. Everything else is like exactly what we could have expected from the way season 1 ended, basically.
That's true, but I don't mind it too much, because at this point, you always expect a show to have some bombastic, dramatic opening and then get really boring for the next 5 to 10 episodes. I mean, it always happened. It always happened with Adventure Time. Let's be honest here. They always had these amazing season premieres and then these really boring sections. Until season 7, when you had a relatively calm season premiere that not a lot of people liked, but I personally love. And then it built up to stakes, and it was just incredible because it didn't need to have lots of terrible stuff going on. It just worked on the characters. And the Wild Hunt as well. I mean, the Wild Hunt is a very good season premiere, but it's not got a million things going on, especially not compared to Three Buckets. But yeah, I kind of like those toned down premieres that just ground you back into the characters rather than trying to go, oh, all of this cool plot stuff is happening, but we're not going to show you any more of it until episode 18. So I don't mind it. As long as the rest of the season maintains this quality and improves on it, then it should be fine.
Right, I do get that feeling, you know, like it's possible that the only plot important episodes in this season are going to be like the mid-season finale and then the finale, but I kind of get the feeling that it's not going to be like that. I think we're going to get some plot episodes sort of sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, I mean, we did in the first season. There was a ton of plot going on in the first season, remember? It wasn't just a finale.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, that's just, like, it's just everybody's preference at the end of the day to have more exciting episodes, so that's just kind of what I was expecting a little bit. But also just like in my head, like, because I compare this show to it so much, and I know half of the crew is from the show, and I know it's another Disney Channel show, like I just see Gravity Falls in my head when I watch this show. And the season 2 premiere of Gravity Falls, like, set up was so bombastic.
Oh, yeah.
It was both simultaneously a very fun episode, but also like gave us a good continuation of the ending. Like, it gave us more of the portal stuff, not too much, but it gave us just a little bit. That was enough. And then it introduced like the government agents and all sorts of stuff. This episode introduces the Golden Guard. It shows the relationships that we already knew about, basically, and then it shows the Emperor, and he has hair.
Oh yeah, he does have hair. That's true. Well, like, you know, one new relationship was like Hootie has the first friend he's ever made.
True. He was great. Again, we talked about that, but yeah, he's hilarious.
Like, as opposed to like the Owl family, who were just his mortal enemies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But like Lilith saying at the end, like, "I'll protect you." Like, I don't know. I feel like that they might do stuff together.
Of all the characters for Lilith to become close to, I did not put Hootie at the top of the list.
No.
But I guess that's happening. And honestly, I like it.
Now it's a rare pair, and it's going to be a whole thing.
Wait.
Let's not encourage.
No, shut up! Crown, you're not including that in the video, surely, because I swear you'll generate some curse content.
Do you think that scrying potion is going to become important later?
It has to, doesn't it?
I would hope, honestly, that the next episode starts with them looking at it or something. Even if nothing important happens, just like the next episode starts reminding us that they have that and like they're actually using it. That'd be good.
Yep.
Quick question. The line at the end when Belos said, "Hello, human," that was in the trailer, And we all thought he was talking to Luz, right? So at some point in the middle of the season, not in the end of the premiere. So was he talking to us, like the person watching the show?
Man, I'd hope
because
so. If they take the show in that kind of direction, I'd be so happy. But I don't know. Maybe he was. Well, no, because I was gonna say maybe he was talking to like the Golden Guard walked in, but from what they showed of the Golden Guard's face, I think he has like elf ears. Maybe he's talking to the door. He thinks the door's a human. He's a little blind.
And maybe he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
We discussed that twist possibility earlier.
I think that's, even considering they show him with like long hair like that, I think that's definitely what's going to go on there. But we'll find out.
Did anyone else think it was weird at the beginning when like Ida and Lilith and Luz showed up at the market together, and then Ida and Lilith left Luz and didn't talk to her at all? They just left her there?
No, because I didn't notice, I guess.
It is strange, but I guess they assumed Luz would be fine going back by herself.
Yeah, and I mean, that was fine to assume, because I guess she's been going on adventures by herself and with King. But it was still, they should have said, like, hey, we're going to go back home, you do whatever you want. I don't know, they should have had a line about it.
No, but how long has Luz been missing for? Like, how long was she on that boat for before they noticed she was gone?
They didn't even. They only encountered each other because Ida was stealing stuff, and it happened to be from the boat Luz was on.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that joke with Ida stealing stuff.
Presumably all that gold is, like, disintegrating in the boiling ocean now. Like, that fish guy's not going to be able to pay off his many debts.
Sad. That was a good joke, too. That was what I forgot about. I like that.
Also, a thing that I think, like, I misinterpreted, and I'm not holding this against the episode, but, like, at the very beginning, it showed Luz fighting a monster, and she saw the shadow and thought it was big, and then turned out to be small and just had, like, a big shadow because of the lighting, right? And then they reincorporated that in the end when they tricked the Golden Knight by pulling the trick with the shadow. But right before that happened, they showed the monster's baby, and so I thought, is the baby the one casting the shadow, and they're gonna kill the baby to trick him?
No, okay, about that, because I have seen some very interesting discussion on Twitter about the monsters. So, King is a demon, right?
Yeah.
And he was hyped up to be this big scary demon, but he's a little cat. Then, in the third episode of season 1, they encountered a demon they expected to be really scary, but he was a tiny slug snail. No, he was a turtle. And in this season, again, a monster with a massive wanted poster ends up being a tiny little creature. And then they encounter a fourth monster who's a tiny little creature. Do you think that something happened to all of the monsters?
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a good idea. I don't know. I think I was gonna say it's more so like they want to sell plushies, but I don't know. It could be something like that. That's that's what I was just thinking about, like going back to what you were just saying about like this things kind of hinge on the Emperor having like a good reason for stuff. I just kept thinking about that after I said my stuff about this not starting off too strong. It's not starting off with like a big moment type of thing, because it's like, is he just going to open the door to the human world and like that's it, and then like the monsters are going to go in the human world? Like, that's not really exciting if that's all it's going to build up to, which it's unfair because I just have like very specific expectations where I don't want that to be what happens, because that's kind of a bland fantasy real world crossover thing. You saying that about the monsters is like, yeah, I don't know, maybe there is hopefully something like grandiose there.
I mean, I think the reason it feels like a bland idea is because, he just has the door in his secret basement, and the main characters aren't involved, and they don't even know if it's there. So, like, if he just opens it and goes and attacks the human world and no one knows about it, then, like, that wouldn't be a good plot. So I don't think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. I think it's going to get involved somehow. But they're probably going to see it with the scrying potion, and they're going to be like, we got to get that door back.
But yeah, I have high standards for that sort of thing, because I've seen it done badly so many times, and I've only seen it done well a few times. Like Adventure Time, when Together Again aired, I was easily able to put together an entire timeline for the Candy Kingdom, for example. And the entire land of Ooo has this brilliant timeline where everything makes sense in some sort of logic. But Our House Season 1, there's a lot of things that don't make sense yet, and I'm worried they're going to go the way of Steven Universe, wherein they introduce concepts but don't think them through and don't give satisfying answers for them. So, like Gravity Falls had a half satisfying answer, I guess. I mean, some people loved it. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but it was fun. So if it's at least as good as Gravity Falls, that's great, but I'm a bit worried it's not going to be that good and it's going to fall flat like SU ended up doing. So that's my concern. But other than that, I just hope it's an entertaining and funny season.
Yeah. Something that did stick out to me, though, now that you say that, is that Ida did specifically say that she was cursed for 30 years. I don't know if you knew that.
I think that's new.
That's some lore.
I think it's new in the show. I bet we knew about it before because like the creators talked about it on Twitter or whatever.
She was in school when she got cursed or whatever, but that's all we kind of knew.
Yeah, so she was probably in her like in terms of age, I guess she was probably in her like late 40s if she was a teen when she was cursed, and it's been 30 years.
Yeah, it adds up. Put on Tumblr. Make a giant website for it.
I don't think I have that many more thoughts on the episode. Do you want to transition into ratings?
Yeah, I'm surprised we talked about it for so long. We can begin rating.
Right, okay, so ratings on this is a little bit difficult. We didn't do any ratings on the Distant Lands episodes. We just did like reviews and said they were the perfect and bestest thing ever, so that was completely fair. They really are. So this is not the perfectest and best thing ever, so unfortunately I can't give it an Obsidian out of 10. But how would I rate compared to the previous season? I'd say compared to the previous season, this would probably be one episode I'd give a fairly high rating. A 7 or an 8 out of 10 compared to Our House Season 1's average. Doesn't hit the highs of the best episodes in the season, but it's well above the worst episodes, and we don't want to talk about those episodes anymore. So, yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Right. I feel the same way. I think this episode was good, but in a sort of average way that doesn't really stand out, so I'm giving it a 7.
I'm glad we all agree, because that's what I was thinking too. Definitely what stood out to me the most was the designs and stuff. I really liked all that stuff. Like, maybe it's just coming back to the Owl House world, like, because again, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've watched it, and it has honestly been a little while since I've even thought about it. So going back in and like having an episode that has quite a bit of different scenery and characters and stuff was really nice. And there's some good jokes, and it's a nice little character story. Although I am slightly underwhelmed that there's not a stronger hook for like what we're gonna see next. But we'll see stuff for sure. So for the first time ever, we have an average score that is just the score that we all said. But there's also less of us.
But there's also only 3. Yeah. Well, hey, triple sevens. That's like a
that's like a thing. That means the rest of the season's going to be amazing because we got the lucky sevens.
Fantastic!
Absolutely
fantastic.
Now saying that it's actually going to be terrible, we just jinxed the whole thing.
No, shut up.
All right. Should I stop my recording?
Got to do an outro first. What are we going to say? How do we send?
All right, we'll see you next week, presumably when the Golden Guard reveals he is Edric Blight's evil twin brother.
Oh yeah. Well,
he's already a twin.
Yeah. Triplets, secret triplets. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, and super special thanks to my Patreon supporters. Support me on Patreon and you'll be able to submit video topics, see exclusive behind the scenes content, and help me keep this channel going. Also follow me on Twitter and TikTok for special updates.